Okay, guys, let's jump into this. This is another live Inside the Lab. I want to remind you, if you're watching this on YouTube, please head on over to landingpagelab.com. It's a completely free group where we talk about conversion rate optimization, how you can skyrocket those conversion rates. But we also have features with industry experts like this young man I said in front of me right now. Myself and Bryan have been working together probably for I was trying to think this, maybe 6-7 years at least. Bryan was, I would say, probably in the first 10 customers of Landing Page Guys back in the day. And we've just kind of reconnected and started working together again. But it's amazing to see how much Bryan's grown since then and now. And I know he's going to kind of jump into that story. But he currently owns a company called Lamarck Media. They're a full-service marketing agency focused on growth of their clients. They have the highest level partnerships with companies like Facebook, for example. Founded over, I think, 11 years ago, I'm right in saying?
Yeah, 11 years.
Managed $1 billion+ in media spend, which is pretty crazy. So this guy eats, sleeps, lives. He is real. He does what he says on the tin. Normally sits, behind the keyboard and not in front of the camera. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Bryan, and ask you to kind of just give us a little intro to kind of how you started 11 years ago, how you got into the space, and what you guys do now.
For sure. Yeah. So founded Lamarck 11 years ago, almost 11 and a half years, if you're tracking that way. Founded in January of 2009. So started the business in another recession period. So familiar with kind of how the stuff works. Not comfortable, but been there before. And really our goal was to be different than the traditional agencies. I worked at a customer acquisition focused agency for 3 years. Kind of saw things that I didn't really agree with in the marketplace of how agencies operate. It's a lot of service side focus, supply side focus. What do we have predicates what we can sell. And I felt as a finance major in school, thinking about portfolio theory and optimized, financial performance, you're generally looking at a combination of channels and services to deliver a goal. And it's not really supply side, it's really demand side driven. And so I thought a lot about portfolio theory, which is about having a portfolio of different types of investments, and you're moving that allocation around based on risk and reward profile. And so why aren't marketing companies operating that way? In the end of the day, a company hires a marketing company to drive some type of outcome. You don't hire landing page guys if you don't want a website that converts, or you're not looking to build a new landing page or a new product to market. That's why you get hired, right? That's the reason people come to you. And your outcome should be exactly that. And so companies come to marketing companies to help them grow, to increase revenue, to get new customers, to improve share of voice, to improve the brand presence. It doesn't have to be revenue, but you're coming to someone in a marketing business to do something for your company, right? And so whatever that goal is, that should predicate what the strategy is. It shouldn't be anything preset. It shouldn't be, here's what we offer. It should be, what do you need? What are you looking to accomplish? And how do I help you get there? Using marketing as the tools. But ultimately, marketing should answer business goals first. And so I believe that marketing is a tool for business growth, not marketing as a service to buy, and maybe it'll help you get growth. And so I wanted to create this agnostic view into how we drive performance for clients. And so my idea was to build this portfolio style business. But to do that 11 years ago without really any resources, it didn't really seem realistic. So my next thought was, well, 11 years ago, digital was pretty new. Most of the big agencies didn't offer digital yet. So why not create digital platform products for big agencies, work behind the scenes, get the experience, and then I could go do this one day myself. So we set out to be an agency's agency, a wholesale shop.
They would effectively white label you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So they would white label us, and we would get involved, and we'd build out digital programs. So maybe that program was a paid social campaign, or a paid search campaign, or SEO campaign, or a web project, right? Whatever that may be that the big agencies didn't have in-house, I said, don't build it yet. Digital's new. You don't have the resources. Rent it from me. And I won't get the glory, and we won't get the margins, but we'll learn, and we'll get really good internally. And then one day it can go direct. So about six years ago, I started realizing the business was starting to build up its own silos of work.
So you were doing that for 5 years, am I right in saying?
Really about 6.
Being white labeled, yeah.
Yeah, we still do white label work as well. But the core of the agency side of our business is really full service partnerships. We still have some great white label products on things that we built up, like our email platform and some of our social platforms. And we still do some great work with some amazing agency partners. But from the agency side of the business, it's really more full service. And the idea then was, okay, 5, 6 years ago. Now I've got my teams doing different things. I've got my core products. I've got my new things. Now, if I add on client services and I add on creative and I add on strategy and analytics, I could be that full service partner. And I also can run things across this machine because I don't have any bias. So I don't really care, for lack of better words, if money moves from Google to Facebook or from Facebook to TV, right? It doesn't really matter. It's about what are the goals of the business, what channels are going to drive that best response, and then being live and having no bias and making changes and testing the hypothesis on a daily, weekly, monthly level until ultimately you're delivering the results the client wants. Therefore, you have good retention. Therefore, you've achieved your goal and you've brought value. And so if it's all about creating value, that's what should be driving the media plan, nothing else. And the problem with small agencies that are boutique, they focus on one thing and they may be amazing at it, but that's all they do. So if that's not the right product for or service or channel for that brand, they either are faced with an ethical decision of saying, hey, we're not a good fit because we only do this, or they do it anyway and they don't get them where they need to go. Or you hire 6 great boutiques, but then how is it all connected? How is it all correlated? How are we looking at the world holistically? How are we seeing the movements of social? How is social impacting search? How is TV impacting search? You don't see that holistically, and everyone's fighting for dollars without any share. Or you go to a big agency who then outsources the boutiques anyway, or has multiple teams that are okay at things. They're, Jack or Jill of all, master of none. So the only way to break those paradigms is to build out individual focuses in silos and then synergize strategy, reporting, analytics, and information so you can move things across the system and be that holistic part.
So was that something that you literally did? You mastered one trade and then you kind of built that department out and then you moved to the next and moved to the next? Because I know I know about Lamarck. Obviously, our viewers may not. You offer a wide range of services now, but that wasn't something you always offered. I guess what did you start with, like something specific, and then move to the next thing, and move to the next thing, and put those people in place to run them?
Yeah, it was kind of building out every 6 to 12 months, and started in search and email, building out those products, then paid social. I mean, I built my first paid social ad in I think it was March of 2008 on Facebook. I think the platform opened in like September of 2007, and I was still at my old company doing consulting for digital on the side because we didn't offer anything digital at all. My boss had no roadmap for it. So I had people saying, hey, what about Facebook? Oh, I'll figure it out. There's an ad platform now, log in. And so, those things were out there, but they were emerging. I mean, when I first started Lamarck, Alta Vista was a player in the search.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
Ask Jeeves, right?
Yeah, Ask Jeeves. Wow.
Ask Jeeves. Man. So, it was just different, and people didn't really understand where it was. I mean, smartphones were invented in the early 2000s. I was in college when the first smartphone came out, and so it's like, there's different timings on things, and you have to kind of look at the world holistically. So we started with where there was needs, and then we started adding things as clients said, hey, you guys are doing a great job with these products. Are you doing these next? And we just kept adding and adding until 5, 6 years in, we had a nice, portfolio of services that just lacked the front office. And so building up that front office and then being holistic really was a turning point for us in our business. And when we talked, we were probably still in the wholesale space and maybe a little bit of direct. When we first met, definitely in the wholesale space.
I remember most of your kind of stuff was, I remember you had the big fitness brand, was the kind of health and fitness kind of products, but yeah.
Yeah. Those were our direct relationships that we were getting just from being in business and meeting a guy at an agency that said, hey, my friend has this business. Can you talk to him? Well, we don't really take direct, but let's try it. And getting good results, but we didn't have a great client services. We didn't have any client services.
Yeah.
So it was bumpy on the front end, and it became an inflection point in 14, moving into 15. Like, if I want to be full service and not just agency wholesale, I got to build out a front office, or this is not going to work, right? And so that's kind of what changed it. And it's it was a great decision. We still have some really good wholesale partners that we love and appreciate. Some of them from a long time. But we also know that we can bring a really unique format to the agency space where a lot of people are tired of the standard agency model. We try to make it affordable and transparent on that model, but really we're a growth partner or a marketing department extension. And we want to understand things like cost of goods. We want to understand things like, marginal return on scaling. We want to understand, things like affordable customer acquisition rates, overhead expenses, lifetime value, things that are really important to the business, the economics of the business, more so than, front end metrics on the marketing side. They're both important. The front end are leading indicators, but at the end of the day, I could say, hey, I just crushed ROAS for you. And you can say, I lost money. And that's not a good conversation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You understand it all. even in now in COVID, there's clients who we've been pivoting to e-commerce from retail, but they have so much infrastructure for retail and wholesale, they're still having to keep afloat, that the return has to be higher than you intuitively would think. Like, hey, what's your cost? Oh, so you can live at a 1.5. Well, yeah, but then I can't pay my warehouse. And if I don't have my warehouse, I can't ship. So I need to be at a higher return to cover those things and subsidize. And if we didn't have those business conversations first, there's no way we could be a real value add to them, because we're living at both. You know?
Yeah, it makes complete sense, and it's quite a fresh approach to business, like you said. It's instead of focusing on like, you have a product, let's just set up a sales page, sell it, and we look good. It's kind of looking at the bigger picture, looking into the backbones of that company, and building a kind of longevity plan ahead of you. So we've got some guys joining us on the feed. Guys, if you're watching live, make sure you say hello. Make sure you're asking any questions throughout the live for Bryan. We're going to jump into that at the end. This man, believe me, has been there and seen it all. So I want to dive further into something that really interests me as someone who owns an agency and is currently in that kind of scale phase. I mean, we mentioned we worked together probably 6-7 years ago, where me and Andy were literally doing everything. So the whole shebang, client facing, design, development, everything. It was just me and Andy. Fast forward to today, 7 years on, I still look at us as a startup because we've only just started relatively like scaling this last 18 months. But we've gone from kind of a couple of people to a good amount of people, 30-40 people. How did you go from I remember when Dan came on board back in the day as your kind of right hand man, but how did you go from like you couple of guys to 100+ staff that you kind of have now?
Yeah, I mean, look, the fundamentals, it's doing good work. I mean,
right.
At the end of the day, it's we care about our clients, and people say this all the time, but it's how you act more than what you say. I think right now in COVID, it's a great time to prove who you are, and when things are tough, do you really care? Are you willing to help people out who can't run because their stores or their businesses are closed? What are you doing about your contracts? I mean, we work on generally longer term partnerships with realistic outs for performance, but we have clients right now that can't operate. We have cruise line. Like, what are they doing? And so am I going to enforce my contract, right? No, that's not the right thing to do. That's unethical. You got to be a good partner first. You got to be a good human first. And I think caring about the business, and caring about the commitment, when someone makes a commitment to us, they're depending on us. Like, they need us to deliver, to keep their people employed, to grow their business, to achieve their goals. And so we take that commitment very seriously. We structure our deals in place that we're committing to each other. And I think that's number one. And I'll talk about performance next, because if there's no performance, commitments are kind of irrelevant. But I think one is just really understanding our clients' goals, being a partner for them, diving into what makes sense for them, and then holding that accountable internally and externally. That's number one. Hitting goals, being amazing at all these things that we do, and having best-in-class thought leadership, and having really amazing executors and planners and managers and teams that can go out and bring these things to life. Those are the things that are going to get the performance done, and that's the other side of it. So I think being a good partner, looking at the business holistically, and actually being able to execute and deliver on the things that you say you're going to do equates to success and renewals and long-term partnerships, which is what you have to build. You can't churn in our business and build a big business. You just can't. It's easy to get up to 10, 15, 20 people, churning new accounts every year, being good in the sales room. But to get to a bigger size, it really... I
remember you saying that to me a couple of weeks ago, and that's kind of what we're facing next. So hopefully I'll be able to lean on you a little bit for that. But so that's like client facing. But how about internally? Like, and shout out to Ian Fernando, one of our mutual friends. He's just thrown in the he's so swole right now, so he obviously followed your journey for a long time. But guys, if you're watching the stream, make sure you comment. But how about internally, as a CEO, as someone in charge of staff and companies? How have you found it scaling, staff? Is it all about processes? Is it all about putting the right management people in place? How do you go from that? I'm probably asking selfishly myself here, but I know there's people who's going to be watching this who have agencies and who are a small agency like us, who have those small. But how do you go from those 20 to 100?
Yeah, these are great questions. Look, and there's trial and error. If I said it was a smooth up and to the right, I'd be full of it. You've got to learn from these things. Our business, being that we're all in the service industry, even though we're much more providing a solution, and we like to look at ourselves as generating something tangible, whether you can hold it or not, you can see it or feel it somehow. it's still we're in the business of serving, and our clients are our bosses, right? And so I think in the end of the day, we have to build, scalable, repeatable processes.
Yes.
You need people, process, and technology are the things that you look at, right? Those are the three things that kind of guide our business. And it starts with the people. We're a people business. You got to have great people, talented, dedicated. You've got to find how to build that management structure. It's easy for companies to become very flat. We had that same issue when we were in the wholesale space, especially. It was a very flat organization, everyone kind of owning their areas. So you got to build that hierarchy if you really want to be able to scale and delegate, because, with the client level that we have and how many things that we have going on at the same time, it's really difficult to have one person in charge of everything. You have to divide and conquer, and you need good people, and a lot of those people, you can grow and groom. Sometimes you need to get people from other places to get other perspective.
Absolutely.
You want loyal people who've been there, and you want to find paths for everyone, but sometimes you also need things that you don't have. So it's a combination of trial and error. And I think, learning from that, I can certainly give you some advice from my trial and error. We've had more wins than losses, which is part of the map. But, I think you have to look at people and process, and those are the two first things. Technology and tools is super important. But if people use them, right? We always say, we need a new tool. The tool is as good as the user and the process to enforce the use, right?
Right.
Because if you don't use the tool properly and you don't hold the tool to its purpose, then it really doesn't matter. You give the best tech in the world. If you don't have the right operations and the right processes to do it, it's not going to go anywhere. So I think technology is a thing that you can kind of hold constant. Like, hey, we feel we have the right tech stack and the right tech products to operate our business. Now it's people and process. And if you don't fix one at a time, you can't hold anything accountable. And I've learned that, good and bad.
Okay.
Sometimes try to change, is it the person, is it the process? Is the person in the right process? Is that person in the right role? And figuring out those things and trying to build out where it really works. And we've reorganized the team at the leadership level and the management level many times. Sometimes
I think that's resonating a lot, that whole people thing. And it's something that I never really thought about because we haven't really actively hired, and now we're in that phase. I think more about, is this person our kind of person? Are they going to fit in with the company culture? Rather than, is this person going to do that specific role well? Because I feel if they're the right person, they'll find a role for themselves within the company. Eventually it might not be the one they interview for. 9 times out of 10 it is, but they can move around, and as long as they're that sort of person, they'll naturally carve a position for themselves. And that's what I'm kind of realizing.
Yeah, there's some people that are utilities, Swiss Army knives. They can be effective in a number of areas. Sometimes that's a gift and a curse, where you take on too many things and you can't execute the things that you have. So you have to be careful with that. And it comes from a place of love, but it doesn't always end up there. I think also people, have an opportunity to fit in different places. And sometimes, you have to kind of make some hard decisions. But also, if the person's talented and they're bought in, you want to try to find a place for them. At least how I operate, I care very much about my team. They help us get to where we are today, and I want them to be taken care of. And we'll try to find out the right path. And we do have some people in the business today that started in one spot and now they're in another, and it's much better for them. The others you hire and it's the right role. I don't know that I don't even know that's 9 out of 10. But in the skilled areas, it's pretty black and white. Like, we bring in someone to run SEO campaigns under the SEO team. That's pretty much where they're going to live, unless they take on another skill set, in their own time and say, hey, I've really mastered this. I'd like to try something different, which we encourage our teams to grow and build here. Just because you come in and pay-per-click doesn't mean you're going to stay. You come into email doesn't mean you're going to stay.
Yeah.
But that's the role you were brought into. So you've got to work with us on a plan to transition out of it. But most of the time, like, a web developer isn't going to all of a sudden turn into, a Facebook buyer.
Right. Agreed. Yeah.
If there's a passion for it and they're a good person and we want them here, let's talk about that roadmap. But that's not generally the case. It's most of the management and some of the ops teams that have more ability to move around. But it's really making sure you have the right roster. It's like a sports team, right? You've got a multiple people on your team. You can't have all quarterbacks on a football team. You can't have all guards on a basketball team. You've got to have a roster of.
I mean, you're talking the wrong sports to me, Bryan, but football. But yeah,
football,
no, it makes perfect sense.
I'm gonna go throwback like 10, 15 years ago, Rooney and Van Nistelrooy kind of conversation.
Again, you're talking about the wrong team, Bryan. My enemy team, Man
great.
United, are the worst team. You know, I'm a big Liverpool fan, so I stay away from Man United. But anyway, this is amazing kind of insights into how a kind of company like yourself has scaled. So I appreciate it. I want to touch. I really want to go into some. I know you've got some kind of golden nuggets to share with us, which I really want to go into. But if it's okay with you, let's just touch on the current situation. It'd be silly not to talk about it, the kind of pandemic that's going on right now. How has it affected a larger agency like yourself? How is it affecting your clients? Can you give our kind of audience some tips on how you've kind of pivoted, how you've made, the most of a crisis? Because as we know, there is always opportunity in a crisis. How have you guys dealt with it?
For sure. Yeah, I think, look, going back to what we said before, being an extension of our clients, if our clients are feeling pain, we're feeling pain. We have a really, very mixed book of clients, which has been wonderful for us to be able to have some really amazing opportunities on e-commerce.
I was about to say, I think one thing to mention is you guys do lead gen as well. It's not just e-com.
Drive to retail. We're fully omni-channel and selling format, which is an overused word, but we basically work with clients. We have many clients who sell in retail, service-based lead gen, e-commerce, e-tail like Amazon, multi-format, direct-to-consumer. Whether it's through phone or TV or whatever it may be. So we've got clients who are full spectrum. We have some clients that are retail and e-com, kind of a dual model. We have some clients that are pure retail. We have some clients that are pure e-com. So we have a really balanced book. I mean, we work on pretty much any type of business, which is silver lining from being a wholesale partner is we didn't pick our clients for 6 years. So we kind of got good at the science of driving response, regardless of the category. So we didn't become in one industry or something like that. We kind of got a variety. We have furniture retailers, hotels, cruise lines, e-com brands, Nutra brands. I mean, we've got restaurants. I mean, pretty much anything you name, we work with, which has been wonderful for us because when we meet a prospect or an opportunity, we generally have a case study for pretty much any category.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's the same with us. Someone says, "Have you done a land page in this?" And we're like, "Yeah, we've done 10, over the years." So yeah,
I got an example. Here's a case study, right? And so I think that's been great. We have we're fortunate to have a lot of e-com brands and brands who are e-com and retail. We've been able to help them pivot. We have a few brands who actually didn't have e-commerce but need to, and I think we're working on a couple projects right now with you to turn some stuff pretty quick. I got another one today for you. But we got to turn these sites fast. We got to get these Shopify sites up quick, or WordPress, whatever it is. And
let's talk about it. So is it all about adapting quickly? What have you seen internally? What are you guys doing with your clients right now?
Yeah, it's been a mix. I mean, some clients, infrastructure is generally something to understand. So going back to understanding the business, some clients who are retail who aren't set up for e-commerce at all, pivoting to that is not easy because they don't have a pack and pick, kind of facility. They need to find a 3PL. They have to find a way to ship that product out in a time where things are, kind of regulated and shut down. They have to figure out ways to take direct to consumer. They have to get merchant accounts set up. It's a lot different when you're a pure wholesale player who sells to a wholesaler or directly to a Walmart, let's say, or a Macy's or whatever it is, and you don't do any e-com at all, zero, right? That's a tough pivot. We've gotten 2 clients across that hump, and it was a lot of work, right? Because it's almost a business structure change, right?
Yes.
We have a couple of other clients and even a couple of friends of mine who we don't do work with who literally have pivoted their manufacturing facilities to making products relevant to COVID that can't be found. So, hand soaps and sanitizers and masks or whatever they can make to help, right? And so they have a fabrics factory. They're making, something and they can turn it into something else. Those are big pivots. Those are business change pivots, right? The more common one is where they had like a little e-com. We've been probably telling them to do more e-com and they've been apprehensive because they've been successful. And then they have retail over here, and then retail drops, and it's like, okay, it's e-com time, right? And so it's shotgun. It's like, let's go. And we're here. I mean, I told my team, and we went remote 6 weeks ago. I told my team, this is the time that we prove who we are. We talk a lot about culture. We talk a lot about brands. Those things are great, but a brand isn't defined by your website. Your culture is not defined by happy hour. Your brand, your legacy is defined by what you do right now in these times when they're tough and when things aren't easy. Who are you? Are you a partner or are you a vendor? Are you someone who is here to help and be a voice of information in a time of uncertainty? That's the stuff that clients will remember 30, 60, 90, a year from now, whenever it is, and say, look what Lamar did for us. Look who they were. They worked with us on our billing. They understood our situation. They found ways for us to win. They connected us with strategic partners. They built out stuff for us. They worked till midnight to get my products online. Like, that's who I want to hire. That's who I want to be with forever. And so I told my team, this is the time for us to prove who we are. We always say we're not a marketing agency, we're a partner. Now's the time. Like,
we need to step and be that partner. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, that's a great, really refreshing way of looking at it from a top level perspective. I really like that. So, we see there's tons of Facebook groups out there, tons of information. We're getting mixed messages. Some people are saying, e-com taking a hit. Some people are saying there's never been a better time. They're seeing incredible ROAS. Conversion rates are through the roof. They're scaling up their ads. There's less competition. CPMs are cheaper. From someone who has a massive, wide mix of clients, does a lot of paid media, what's your perspective on that? What are you seeing truthfully internally?
Yeah, no, that's great. And so one thing we did is I actually asked, I asked our Facebook and Google partnership teams when this first happened, they both reached out to me. They've been wonderful. We're in this really amazing group with Google where we have like a really enterprise level of partnership, and we have a sponsor, and it's really amazing. He's been great. And our Facebook partner, Sarah, she's been amazing. And they both have been like, what do you need? How do we help you? We're all in on this. You guys are a top priority. And we're like, thank you. Us being a top priority means our clients are top priority. And that's what matters. One thing I love is information, because there's a lot of uncertainty right now. Think back a month ago, people didn't really know what was going on.
Yes.
And need information. And so unfortunately, a lot of that information is protected because they're public stocks. So if they told me, hey, CPMs are up,
exactly. Yeah.
Like it's insider trading. I'm like, okay, I didn't think about it like that. And then I said, all right, well, my goal is to get information to my clients. And so we've got a pretty big book of business. We've got a very nice variety of categories, to your point. We've got 9 figures of spend. Why don't we look at our media holistically and look at those trends? And never would we give information for a client away to any other client, but we can look at the holistic trends by industry, by category, by type, lead gen versus e-com versus retail, and look at the trends and use that data internally, as well as sharing some of those highlights with our clients, without PII. And so I had our analytics team build out a Tableau dashboard, taking in every account we have, all the platforms we have, and we built out this like master agency insights dashboard.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll look and tell you. So I can tell you definitively some information.
Please do.
I can keep updated because I can run them, day over day, week over week, month over month. And anyone who wants to talk, let's chat. I'm happy to share some high level information. Just altruistically trying to help us all win here. We're all in this thing together, and different impacts of different people, different places. But ultimately, I think this is a time for us all to show that we care about each other as people, business, owners, family, parents, children, whatever. So I think, one is CPMs overarchingly are certainly down. I don't think there's any question. You've got huge political spend here in the U.S. that's off. I mean, I think Bloomberg spent $500 million or something alone in February.
Oh, on the campaign, yeah. And then
that's all. The big, massive retailer, brick and mortar guys are pulled way back. You've seen commercials on TV go back. A lot of the restaurants have pulled back. You don't see McDonald's commercials every 30 seconds animore. A lot of the partners are out, and the same thing's happening on digital. Now, so there is some shift from digital. The CPMs are starting to slowly improve. It's from I guess they would be worse, but can get higher, right? But what we've seen is a couple of really unique things I'll call out. So one, average order value is up, right, across the board, which is interesting because financials are down.
I was going to say, can you pinpoint that? Because we've seen that as well from our clients' data, that AOV is up. But purely from our side, we are pushing like bundles. We're pushing bundles, we're pushing subscriptions, we're pushing scarcity on the fact that people don't feel like they can get product delivered quickly, and they don't think they can get volume delivered. So that's why I think logically that would be the case. Is that the same with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're hitting the nail. I think it's that's the symptom or whatever, the cause of it. I think the biggest thing that we're telling our clients to do, and this data is just indicative of Lamarck's book. So like I can't say it's everyone, but I'd say it's large enough to say trends.
You have a big enough spectrum, right?
I would say CPMs are, but maybe some of the performance metrics are aligned with us, and we've had some amazing performance metrics, and hopefully it's unique to us, but also hopefully everyone's getting the love because we need it. But I think the order value conversation, I think, is because people are making better offers and better deals, and people are shopping less places, more volume. So they're saying, okay, this bundle. So that's why I said I think you're hitting the nail. This bundle or this offer, I can get my whole month's supply or whatever I need right now from one shipping place. I'll spend a little bit more money, but that's also because there's a better deal. Conversion rates have slightly been down on a lot of these sites, but the average orders are up. So people are being more choosy. But when they choose, they buy more.
They
right?
buy more.
And it's a behavior. It's a nesting behavior. You're saying, hey, I'm really particular about what I want to buy right now because money's tight, but I want to go more in with these partners or these brands that are giving me a better deal or a better value, and I'm willing to spend more money because I know I need it, right?
Yes.
I think overall there's arbitrage opportunity. So if CPM's down 30% and let's say conversion rates down 20%, there's a 10% delta, right? Because they're all straight line numbers. It's all linear, right? If cost per click goes down 10% and conversion rate goes down 10%, you net out, right? Because it's all it's math. Math.
That makes sense.
And so I think when you're seeing enough arbitrage in a positive way for e-com, you end up ahead. But I think your other question is, I think it's category specific. I think brands that have no relevancy to what's happening, not necessarily the pandemic itself, but like how people are living today, I would say they're about net neutral, right? Kind of similar, maybe a little down, maybe a little up, depending on what they're running. Brands that have any way to spin that conversation or make that useful or valuable in today's market are up, right? How up is a question. Some are crazy. Like we had people when the U.S. stimulus checks came in over the last couple of weeks. It was like crazy. It's crazy. We have brands 4, 5, 6 revenue, right? Yeah. And we have brands still doing 2-3 times revenue now, right? And brands doing it before that. And then we have other brands that are kind of status quo. We have some brands that are slightly down if they're not endemic to what's going on. And I also think it's cyclical in behavior. When COVID first hit, there was a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people worried about things in health, safety. What's going to happen? Is my office going to close? Am I going to have a job? A lot of really bad things, a lot of big decisions being made. I think people were gravitating to buying like comfort things that they know, ordinary goods, like toilet paper for some reason. I don't know why still, for sure. And so now people are settling in. They're getting more used to the status quo, and they're starting to buy things that they want again. And in some cases, buying things that they may have held back on because they're feeling more connected to the world by purchasing goods and products and things that give them enjoyment. And so now you're seeing more discretionary purchasing happening. Things that people may have said, I could use that, or that'll keep us busy or entertained. And like I have 2 young kids, we're buying kid stuff that they're getting bored fast over here. Most people, so we're buying stuff for them that we probably wouldn't have bought. So it gives you a way when you can't go out, you can't go to restaurants, and you can't go to the mall, and you can't.
That's the bigger picture. Like it's a no-brainer. Like you've just said, people can't spend that money. They're not spending money on petrol, holidays, gas in the States, holidays, meals, nights out, clubbing, whatever it may be. They're not taking the family for a trip to Paris, Disney, Legoland, whatever it may be. So they have that resource at home. They're also stuck on their phones more longer than ever because they're just browsing because they're bored at home. So they're seeing all these ads. So it's kind of like, it's very logical why people are spending money. And, Ian rightly said, there's been a report out last week from the Shopify. I think it was one of the founders who said their weekly surges are almost at Black Friday levels, like consistently at the moment. We have to be mindful, obviously they are floated, so he wants to maybe fluctuate the share price, but it's true. Like there is logic behind that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And now that we know there's timeline to this and people are going to be reopening again, and you're starting to feel some finality to the main kind of shutdown, not to the virus. I think that's going to be a while, and there's going to be behavior changes, and there's going to be some tough times ahead, I think, in certain areas especially. But at least you have some insight to timeline of the now, and people are willing to start to spend some money again. You got Mother's Day coming up. I think you're going to see a lot of activity. Brands more relevant there, doing well. I think people are starting to try to get back to some new normal, and purchasing things is part of what we do as consumers. We buy things that give us enjoyment, create value for us. Some are, necessary goods. Others are discretionary and purchases for things that we want. And then people are starting to do that again. I think time has a chance to create. And I think right now is an opportunity for brands to create those relationships with customers they may never have had in their crosshair before, and make an opportunity to create that partnership with a brand and a person, and give them a better deal, and understand that times are tough, and do something nice that will hopefully repay itself in spades. And so,
I think that's a really good flip on it. And I think also thinking about the longevity versus the now. Like you might break even now, you might make a little less money, but if you're gathering more data, more clients, that longevity when we all come out of this, and you can send them more deals and send them more promotions, and they're a paying customer, then it's going to pay dividends. So I really think that's powerful. I think another thing you touched on is what we're currently kind of shouting at our clients and have been since this came out. I did a video like almost a month ago now saying, like, if you can adapt and you can pivot to bundle offers, you can create a sales page that has bundles on if you don't already. You can do a subscription service. You can bulk things up as family packs or whatever it may be. And you can adapt the terminology. I know you have to be very careful, especially when you're advertising on Facebook, using terms like COVID and stuff. But if you have something that's aligned with like a supplement or a fitness product or an entertainment product from home, and you can kind of angle your pages and your ads to speak to someone who's stuck at home and in this pandemic, then you're going to do fine.
Yeah. Look, what some of the things I'll talk about, I know you asked me to have some tips.
Yes, we're going to come.
But yeah, I mean, there's a big value, not just now, but to being relevant. A big piece of connecting with a consumer is to cause and effect. They're looking for something, you have an option to satisfy that need. Or they're not looking for something, but you know who they are based on their behavior or their demographics or whatever the targeting is on the platform. Put things in front of them that matter to them, and you're going to see a better result. That's like marketing 101, right? And so I think those are important things. And also another advice component from the platform conversation, as we're talking about trends, we're actually seeing Facebook performance in percentage improve better than Facebook and Instagram, better than search, Google and Bing. Because again, back to behavior, one of my guys asked me about this about 2 weeks ago, and he's like, we're trying to figure it out. And I said, to me, it's kind of simple, right? Behavior. What are you searching for right now? What do you need? I'm home all day. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going anywhere. Where am I going?
Yeah.
I'm working all day. I'm working plenty more hours. There's an interesting article I read about that too, saying that the workday got about 2 to 3 hours longer since people went to home because there's no boundaries.
Absolutely.
Working like a madman, and which is all good. We're here to help, and we're trying to move everyone along, us and our clients. But you're not searching like, what do you need to buy right now? You don't need any new clothes. You don't need any things. You're not going on a trip. You don't need luggage. Like, you don't need things, right? You need food and you need home products. But so you're not Googling things to buy because you don't know what to buy. So here you're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. And you see something cool and you're like, oh, I might need that. I might want that, right? And so you don't know what to look for. So we've seen a huge explosion on the behavioral platforms, programmatic also, wherever you can get in front of someone and target them based on behavior or needs, or needs meaning demographics, by demographics, you can put that product in front of them and prompt the purchasing activity, which also could be leading to some of the lower conversion rates and the higher order values, right?
Right.
You may not know, I'll wait. And then when you finally buy it, you spend the money, right?
Yes.
And so I think, the high intent on something like Google Ads, where you're looking for something specifically, will lead to a higher conversion rate. So that could be part of the conversion rate issue as well that we just talked about.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, this is all golden. Like, it's really cool to see it from someone who's in the trenches and has all that data sat in front of them, because you are playing on all these different playing fields. You are advertising across all these different platforms. So to have some insight, like I said, from your data is really, really cool. So I really appreciate that, guys. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe. If you're not inside the lab, head on over to landing page lab.com. We've got other amazing videos with people like Bryan showing some really cool stuff. But we got some amazing stuff already on this live. So really, really appreciate it, Bryan. But I asked you to kind of come prepared with a few kind of golden nuggets. Like I said, if anyone missed the intro, Bryan has been running a very large scale performance company for 11 years now. You have kind of been there, seen it, done it all across lead gen, e-com. So yeah, I'd like to just hand over to you and kind of ask you what you can kind of share with us.
Yeah, so I got a few key things. We touched on some of them already. So I think one is now's an opportunity, and it should always be an opportunity, transparently, to create relationships by delivering value. And I think now with people financially kind of more conservative after having one of the highest, longest bull run markets forever, and coming off of really strong kind of opening to this year, people are a little more apprehensive, but they are here looking for ways to connect. And brands have an opportunity to do that if you can deliver value and create a relationship. So to your point, Oliver, you touched on it and said, go out and get those customers. Don't look at right now as a time for, tremendous profitability if you can afford it, right? And that's where understanding the business is important. But focus on scale, focus on incrementality, create new customers in a period where people are open to making change. Think about grocery. When was the last time you were able to get every brand you wanted from a grocery store right now? Like 2 months ago is when you could do that. Right now, it's like, we use Instacart and Shipt, and I put on there, and it's like, oh, no, we don't have that brand. What brand do you have? One brand, take it, right? But then you might actually really like it. You might say, oh, this is a great brand. So now's an opportunity to create that.
That's a great way of thinking of it, yeah.
People are open to it because they are not necessarily having a choice, or they can't go to their favorite store, so they can't buy their skincare product they're used to, or they can't buy the shampoo now's a chance to show them something else, and people are open to those changes.
That's a really cool way of thinking about it. I love that.
It's not always easy to get a brand change either. That's sometimes a hard thing to do. And so now's an opportunity, like, let's go out there and create new brand relationships with customers. Remarketing is really a huge key to this right now. It takes a lot more money to get new customers, the acquisition cost. If you look at the cost per acquisition versus cost per transaction, that's how you pay down lifetime value and build up lifetime value. And so right now is the opportunity to remarket to old customers, re-engage, win back customers who may not have came to you. Tell them that you're here. Tell them that you understand what's going on, that you want to make them an offer, an opportunity to come back, try the brand. Maybe something's changed. Maybe you fix the problem with the product or a service. Own it. Hey,
and this is done across ads, emails, whatever communication you have, retargeting campaigns. It's all in your wording of your ad and how you kind of position yourself, right?
Cool. Yeah, and in general, these are good principles in general. Like when you capture a customer, everyone talks about the funnel. There's actually a little hourglass at the bottom, which is a smaller funnel back to a resell. And so the amount of money it takes to get a first-time customer is more than it costs to re-engage an existing customer or even a win-back.
Makes sense.
And so you don't have that brand awareness component in your budget anymore. You've kind of subsidized that. So remarketing is a huge way to improve return and retain customers and move from a transaction cost to a lifetime value.
I think that's a really, really valuable point, because I think even these people right now who can't, who are maybe reluctant to spend in this time, maybe they should actually start looking at what they already have.
Yeah.
There's probably a huge email list or previous buyers or previous leads that they can, actually re-engage, like you said, and re-nurture and get much more out of without taking that risk of high spends on acquiring new customers.
For sure, yeah. And at a minimum, it's incremental and subsidization. Other answers to your point, you may be much more cost effective focusing on that first. And the agencies probably don't want to say that because the fees are very low on that kind of work, but it's what it's what matters, right?
Yeah.
And that's always the first place to look, especially in a time where you're financially strapped a little bit, or you're looking to find ways to scale. I think one thing you touched on that I saved for this was really that relevance conversation. There's something I say, I've been saying for a long time. I say in a lot of my conversations with clients is there's three kind of important points of understanding how to perform on digital, right? There's the front end or really like the audience, the targeting, the build out on the back end of the ads, how you're creating those campaigns. A really good agency or a really good in-house team should know how to build ads. Like that's table stakes, right? And who the audience is, you target that, and that's over here. Then there's the message and the offer. That's what the customer actually sees. And then there's the destination, which is where they land, landing page, website. Could be a restaurant, could be a furniture store, could be, wherever it is, right? Destination for your travel. So you have the audience and the targeting, the message, and then you have the destination. The fastest distance to any point in math class is a straight line, right? So you want to straight line that thing. And that's going to lead to a better quality score, better relevance score, and a better connection. So if you're targeting someone about, pets, can you target them about dogs because they have a dog? Can you have an ad featuring a dog? And if you talk about the product and how it's going to help their dog stay healthy on the landing page, right? I'm just picking a random category. But you want the audience, the message, and the destination to be one direct line.
Continuity across everything, basically, yeah.
It's going to lead to a better conversion rate. It's going to lead to a lower cost on media because the platforms reward you for having better quality and relevance. And ultimately, it's a better user experience. So it's segmentation, it's differentiated messaging. If you can do that, you're going to have a better result. And so whenever we look at clients and saying, hey, I want better ROAS, I want better return on ad spend, I want better performance. Okay, let's look at the way the ad's built. We can beat our heads against the wall and fix that thing until it's perfect, right? Who the audience is. Then let's look at the message and the offer, because that's actually what the audience sees, right? That's the next thing. That's pre-click, right? And then what happens post-click, where they land. What is that experience like? And is that broken? Do you see an ad about, dogs to a pet owner who owns a pet? and that the pet's a dog, and then they hit a website and it talks nothing about that, right? Like, that's where you should focus your money. And unfortunately, from agencies, the least expensive way to do that is to fix conversion rate. But the most valuable for a client and a company is to work on conversion rate optimization versus trying to get an extra 5% ROAS on their ads. You can get a 3%, 5%, 20%, 50% improvement on conversion rate. So looking at all three of those things. And so the key takeaway is be relevant and make sure that everything aligns. And then I think the last thing is, in a market today where people are looking, look at multi-channel. If you're running just Facebook or running just Google or just email or whatever it is, what's the next extension? If you're running 2 channels, is there a third? Is there a fourth? That multi-channel integrated approach is really a way to tell a story without saturation while differentiating between those channels. You don't want to hit them with an email every single day. It burns out and you lose that relationship. There's a marginal return on that incrementality in those messages. At some point that goes negative and people start to go the opposite direction. So if you're multi-channel and you're focused on differentiated messaging strategy, and you're mixing it up in email, then social, then search, then a banner, and they don't feel bombarded, but it's relevant and present, you're going to get the best return. So I would always look at how is your platform, instead of trying to scale beyond a point of return, can you add a channel? And can you go multi-channel and have that halo effect?
That's another kind of really interesting point, whereby I think a lot of people in these groups are heavy on Facebook, right? We're on Facebook group right now. A lot of people are Facebook mad. They live, eat, sleep, die trying to scale Facebook campaigns. When sometimes, like you say, and I'm not saying this, you've just said it, I'm just reiterating it, they may want to look at something like Google native, building that email list and then setting up some auto response. To get the same scaling effect, but they're scaling outwards as opposed to kind of up on one thing.
Real life example: if you get 30 emails from me in a month, one a day, what do you say? These guys, they're not leaving me alone. Like they're just obnoxious, right? But if you get one touch a day, one banner ad today, one Facebook tomorrow, an email the next day, you're like, wow, these guys are everywhere. This brand is. They're out there, man. I can't believe I haven't tried them yet. It's a total different sentiment change. It's the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're still getting those touch points 30 days, 30 times. Yeah, but it's that whole
out.
Makes
tired of it. You can't eat. It's like having the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. At some point, your favorite meal becomes not too good. And so that's kind of the idea is differentiating that message. It gets you an ability to have frequency without oversaturation. And that's a key point that I think a lot of marketers really need to look at those frequency caps. And if you want to talk to me more, differentiate the message into more channels.
Makes perfect sense. Amazing. Some really, really cool pointers there. Really, really appreciate it. Definitely I like it because they're almost kind of eye-opening. They're things that people can really think about and implement, which is really, really super valuable. So, Bryan, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I really, really appreciate it. How can people kind of get in touch with you? Who do you like to tend to work with? What does that look like? Give us a bit more information.
Yeah. Any brands looking to grow the business, again, not necessarily have to be revenue, but often clients come to us for revenue and performance. We do everything from creative to web. Really, really strong at performance digital, SEO, SEM, paid social, programmatic. Email is a big area as well. And then remarketing, analytics, business intelligence. We've got a really good data suite for that. So anyone who wants to talk about business or just get advice, I want to be here for people who need it. To your point, I'm not out there as much as I probably should be to help people out. I'm happy to just have a consultation and talk to you guys without any kind of set expectations. Email me, Bryan, Bryan at Lamark, LAMARK media.com. Check us out on social media. Send us a message on Facebook. We're here, and we really want to help everyone get through this. And it's a tough time, but we will emerge positive on the other side. So.
Amazing, guys. I can sign that off. Like we said, we've been working with Bryan for like 7 years. He's been in this industry for 11, and nothing but good things to say about him and the team. So definitely get in touch with these guys. And like you said about the kind of point of just helping people out. You're amazing. You messaged me the other day if there's any advice I need and stuff. So you're a testament to that. So I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you sharing some really valuable things on this feed. Guys, like I said, if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you are not inside our free landing page, conversion rate optimization group, head on over to landingpagelab.com. But be sure to check Bryan and the team out at Lamarck. They're doing amazing things. It's lamarckmedia.com, and we'll catch you on another live in the lab very, very soon. Thanks, guys.
You need a killer LP, this guy.
I appreciate it, mate. We'll talk about the new ones after this.
I'll get you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers for joining us.
Appreciate it.